What is up, everyone? We are back here with the Slot Pod, episode 3. We are happy to have you guys
This is
here.
four.
Happy episode 4. Wow, we're on episode 4 now. We're excited to be here. We're gonna bring you guys some interesting insights today about the schedule. Nothing really went on in the NFL this week. Felt like it was kind of a slow week. I know that it's obviously off season. Adam, did you see any notable moves that you really thought were okay?
Nothing crazy. I saw Chase Young back on the Saints, which isn't really going to do much for them. I still think the Saints are the worst team in the league.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Another thing I saw was the Dolphins are potentially looking into trading Jalen Ramsey. Understandable, they need the
Oh,
assets. He kind of needs a change of scenery. But the really interesting part that I saw was that Jalen Ramsey would potentially be open to playing free safety. And I think that's a really cool spot for him. That's where he can be a ball hawk, true ball hawk, not really playing in that man coverage, kind of playing that. Obviously, it's a free safety. I mean, you roam around the field and try to make a play on the ball, and I think that's what Jalen Ramsey has been best at for his entire career. So that would be exciting. I think, I mean, I'd like to see him even on the Bucks. Kind of coming from a biased point of view, it would be fun to have a really solid free safety in the back, besides what we have right now. But any teams you would want to see him on?
yeah. See, the thing is, I don't know if teams would really think he's that valuable anymore. He's kind of an old cornerback, safety, DB type of guy. I don't think anyone would really give anything of value. Maybe you'll get a third, fourth round pick for him. Other than
Okay.
that, I really just don't see him going anywhere. I think Jalen Ramsey. This is coming from a very big DK Metcalf fan, so I don't think Jalen Ramsey is that he's. I don't think he's worth too much, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, aging cornerback safety type of player. Probably, I mean, I wouldn't even say third or fourth. You might get a sixth round pick for him and
Yeah,
call it a night. He has probably, I mean, what, 2 or 3 years left in his career. So it could be an interesting move if it works out for like 1 year. But I think you're right. I mean, the impact he has is not as high anymore. So definitely very interesting to see. But yeah, anything else? Anything else notable that you kind of saw going on?
I didn't really say anything. I think let's just hop right into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hop into the schedule. So last week we did the AFC. I believe our AFC winner was the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
Definitely a popular pick, and we had our MVP of the AFC being Josh Allen. That being said, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the AFC, in my opinion, not in Adam's opinion.
No,
And
no.
let's recap. Who's your team that comes out of the AFC in terms of the Super Bowl?
Um, in terms of Super Bowl, I would say either the Ravens or the Bills. I think at least one of them will figure out how to get over that final hump. I think the Bills
The
are
Mahomes
definitely a
hump.
lot.
That's what it's called. It's the Mahomes hump.
Yo, pause. I think I think one of those teams definitely. I think the Bills are definitely a lot closer to getting there instead of the Ravens, just because Josh Allen, he's made it to the AFC Championship a couple more times. He's been in playoffs for the past 5 years now, so he's got to figure out something quick.
For sure. But yeah, let's hop into the NFC. Honestly, I feel like we have a good amount of surprises. I feel like the schedule kind of was well spread out this year, but kind of shakes out similar to last year. I think that most teams didn't really get much better or worse, in my opinion. Like everyone kind of remained the same. I think if anything, maybe the Falcons improved for sure, just because their players are starting to get older. I think Seattle improved because they really changed up everything.
Yep.
Um, and I think the Rams are getting older. But yeah, we'll dive into that. So just to get started, we'll start with the Chicago Bears, and there's Adam rocking his Seahawks visor, which we'll talk about later. Jump into the Tory Horns of the world. But let's talk about Chicago. Let's talk about the Bears. Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, Luther Burden. Notable names in that offense. I personally have them going for a 10-7 season this season. I previously said that I thought Caleb Williams would be the most improved out of all the NFL players. That being said, the schedule is definitely difficult. Week 2 in Detroit, week 6 in Washington, week 15 in Philadelphia, week 16 in Green Bay, week 18 back in Green Bay. My thought is they'll split the Green Bay series, and I think they might deal with losses against Detroit. I think Caleb Williams' biggest matchup is going to be Jaden Daniels in week 6 because two sophomore quarterbacks head to head, both got solid supporting casts. Now it's all about who executes better. But what are your thoughts on the Bears?
Yeah, I completely agree with the 10-7 season. I think the Bears are in that year where kind of similar to the Broncos last year, or the Commanders last year, where they're in that stretch to finally start making playoffs again. Only thing is their division is very competitive. So if
Mm-hmm.
the Lions go they get 12 wins, the Vikings get maybe 8 or 9. The Packers will probably get around the same, maybe 8, 9, 10, something within that range. So it's going to be difficult for the Bears to make it to playoffs, but I think if they do, they have a solid chance of maybe progressing to the second round. I wouldn't go as far to say they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I do think they have a good shot this year. They rebuilt pretty much their entire team now. They got a new O line. They got a young new receiver to pair up with Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. Caleb Williams has his weapons now. Only things I wish they would have done, I wish they would have worked on that D line a little bit more, worked on their running back room, because I don't think Swift is the answer.
Yeah, I think in that running back room, there's a guy that I really like, a Kyle Manon guy out of Rutgers. Just a hard nosed runner, like a guy who's gonna get through the breaks, get you those 5, 6 yards, and I feel like that's what DeAndre Swift just kind of sucks at. Like he's explosive, I think, to a certain extent, DeAndre Swift, whether it's outside the numbers, in the passing game, like an explosive player, but he's not a running back who's gonna grind your way to the end zone, grind your way into the end zone even. So I think Mananga is that guy, but then he's also got Khalil Herbert ahead of him, and obviously different factors in
Khalil
play.
Herbert's he's gone. He's not on the
Oh,
Bears
he's
anymore.
got, he's got a bit of competition above him. Roshan Johnson, that's who it was.
Yeah.
He's got Roshan above him, and he's got I forget who, but there's some competition there. Mananga is a seventh round rookie, so not a huge investment for the Bears, but could definitely pay off.
See,
Thought they missed though.
my thing with Swift is I feel like he's an Alvin Kamara type running back that just can't run the ball. I think he'll be able to catch the ball. He'll be able to run through the middle, catch the ball, get it like a couple of yards. But when he's running the ball, he gets maybe like one explosive play per every 2 weeks. That's what I see. I don't see too much. Like there's barely any production from him. Last year, he just kind of sucked.
Yeah, and in this running back world that we have right now, if you're running back not making at least one explosive play per week, even two per week, like 30-yard run, take them down to the 20-yard line, any of those types of things. If your running back is not doing that, you don't have a starting running back on your team. You don't have a starting running back caliber type
Yeah,
player on
because
your team. So
Swift isn't going to be out there. He's not getting first downs. He's getting maybe 3 yards at max.
right.
That's not enough. If you're averaging under 3 yards, then you don't deserve to be that number one running back. You could probably play as a backup, but just in the Bears situation, they don't really have anyone right now. I feel like Omarion Hampton would have been a good pickup in the first round for them, but of course they went with Colston Loveland, which isn't a bad pick, but I don't know. I just think that running back room definitely needs some work.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately they felt like Hampton's talent level didn't quite match pick 10, but I think we even talked about this uh, in the first or second episode, which was the Bears should have traded down from 10. Like they didn't need to stick and pick there. They could have traded with even say the Bucks, right? The Bucks were okay at tight end, but if we say we wanted Colson Love, someone wants to go up and grab Colson Love and trade back with them, end up at 18, 19, get a few assets and pick up Amari and Hampton. I think that's kind of where both of our heads were at in terms of the Bears. So it kind of sucks that they um, stuck and just kind of picked who they felt was the best offensive player available on the board. So
Yeah.
let's see how it shakes out. But yeah, 10-7 for the Bears. Moving on to the Lions, I've actually also got them at 10-7. I think this is going to be a
Whoa.
disappointing season for the Detroit Lions because they are running through an absolute gauntlet through weeks 1 through 12. They've got Kansas City, Washington, Philadelphia, Chicago, and a plethora of other teams that I think is going to hurt them a bit. And to be honest, I don't think Jared Goff is an all-pro quarterback. I think Jared Goff is a system. I think Jared Goff is Brock Purdy if he was taller, and
Mm.
that is
Yeah,
going
that
to
makes
become a
sense.
problem for the Lions with less mobility, extremely less mobility than Brock Purdy. Do you see Jared Goff taking off besides those trick plays? And now no Ben Johnson. I understand that the Lions are a well-formatted team and they have
Yeah,
some
you're
sort of
cutting out.
semblance of where they are. but I don't see it being one
You
of those
froze.
13-4 seasons. I mean, you saw them get cooked last year in the championship game. We know who they are. I know who they are. What are your thoughts?
Yo, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my connection was bugging for a second. Um,
We good.
yeah, honestly, for me, Lions sitting at maybe 11, 12 wins this season. I agree with you. Jared Goff, he's kind of getting old. He's literally Brock Purdy that just can't run. So he plays well in the Lions system, but you gotta consider like this was a big reason why I started to think that Jared Goff just really isn't that good of a quarterback anymore. Last year against the Texans, he threw what 4 or 5 interceptions in one game.
Mm-hmm.
He had maybe 3 or 4 interceptions before that in the entire season, and then you go and throw 4 or 5 in one game.
Right.
Now I get that the Texans do have a pretty good secondary, but you as a veteran quarterback who has made the Super Bowl, you can't be playing like that. One game, like maybe if those
100%.
4 or 5 interceptions are stressed out over
100%.
the course of the rest of the season, but one game and then you choke in the playoffs against a rookie quarterback, that just I think you have to start looking for new options other than Jared Goff. I think maybe you draft someone next year and put him behind him, which could do pretty. That could actually work out pretty well if they get a good quarterback next year, maybe in the first round. Keep him behind Goff for a little bit. That quarterback could probably turn out to be someone good.
Yeah, I just hope the Lions do better than they did this year because getting Isaac Tesla round 3 trading, I think they traded 2 third round picks just to grab him. And I mean, ultimately, if you're trading 2 third round picks, he needs to be worth a second round talent. And I just don't feel like Isaac Tesla's that guy. So looking forward to next year, it's like, can you make a better decision than those types of things? Like they need to make better decisions. And I thought this was a year they could have picked up a Will Howard, could have picked up even a Dylan Gabriel, like just someone later to learn behind Goff. And yeah, say he doesn't work out, say he's a bust, then you pick up one next year. But I think it's time to take a chance on someone who could use your future. I mean, you've got Amon Ra, you've got Jameson, you've got Jameer Gibbs, you've got Sam Laporta, and the common theme among them all is they're all young. Like I don't know how old Amon Ra is exactly, but I want to say he's maybe like 26, 27 years old. Goff is 30, pushing 31. I mean, it's time to reset the timeline a bit. Gibbs is 23, Laporta's 23, Jameson Williams is 23, 24. Like I don't understand why they're on different timelines with the quarterback room and the rest of the offense. So I guess we'll see
Yeah,
how it goes.
I think they think Goff is their guy for now, so that's why they don't have any plans of getting rid of him soon. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it definitely should be in their plans to maybe find a replacement soon because I could see him retiring within the next 3 4 years.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on to the Packers. So the Packers are going to be my division winner, but not by a whole lot. I have them at 11-6. So kind of just some variability there, right? I think the Packers could probably go 11-6, and they could also probably go 8-9. I don't consider Jordan Love to be an All-Pro quarterback either. They got a really tough Week 10 through 18 this year, just extremely same as the Detroit Lions, a bit of a gauntlet between Week 10 and Week 18. And I think the most demoralizing loss, or I guess the biggest surprise loss that I think they'll take is I think they'll lose to Carolina in Week 9. And I don't feel like it's going to be Bryce Young has some All Star game. I just think the Packers are going to have a bit of a collapse. And once that happens, I think their season will go off the rails a bit. But like I said, I do have them as the division winner at the end of the day. And
Really?
this is one of the better divisions in football right now. So that's not, that's definitely a good thing. I think Jordan Love he's time to get there. I don't think he's all pro quite yet, but they need to figure out their wide receiver room, man. I don't understand how you have 5 wide receiver 2s just chilling out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you on that because I have maybe 8 and 9, 9 and 8,
Yeah.
maybe 10 and 6 because I'm looking at the Broncos, the Ravens, and then of course you play the Lions twice. They have the Eagles up there, the Steelers, Bengals. So even the Commanders. So I'm thinking the minimum amount of games that the Packers will lose this year is 6. So I'll put them at a maybe 10 and 7 on my
Yeah.
board over here.
Yeah, we're not too far off. I think my my touching point on the Packers is they have an okay defense, like a solid enough defense that can win them some games. Xavier McKinney, I think he's a ball hawk. He's a guy who's going to go out there and he's going to bring the ball back to his quarterback, and that's important for Jordan Love. Um, but I don't think it's like okay, Jordan Love takes the jump this year or anything. Like I think it's another
Yeah.
kind of very stable year for the Packers. But the main thing is to figure out that wide receiver room. I think Golden truly looks like he's like, hey, I want to be that guy. Like I want to be your one. But then Jaden Reed had a meeting with them last week and they reaffirmed he's the number one. So,
Mm.
you pick a guy in round one and then you go tell your round two guy from 2 years ago, hey, you're the number one. Now you've got Dobbs, Wicks, Watson, Melton, and Heath all behind Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed. Like what? I don't understand. There's a lot of talent, and something needs to be done there. Something needs to shake up.
Yeah, see, if the Packers, honestly, what they could do, because they really don't need that many receivers. They have like four wide receiver twos right now. They
Mm-hmm.
could realistically, they could have traded like one or two of those guys for maybe like T. Higgins, maybe Chris Godwin, Cooper Cup, even. Just get someone that could either one play that one wide receiver one spot, or two, he can help develop these younger guys because the Packers have a very young wide receiver. They have a very young wide receiver group. So any one of those guys could really emerge and become their bona fide number one wide receiver. So I feel like they need to get some help over there just to kind of show them, like, okay, this is what it takes to be a wide receiver one.
Yeah, 100%. Um, so yeah, Green Bay at 11-6 for me. Adam's going a 10-7, maybe a 9-8 season. Another my division loser at least is going to be the Vikings. I think they're
Mm-hmm.
going to need a year for JJ to adjust. So I have them sitting right now 7-7. It's going to be a little bit of a tough season. I have them between week 7 and week 14. I'm losing 5 games. So 5 game loss streak in a 7 game series. It's not great. So we're going to see how it turns out. But I felt like their draft wasn't great this year. JJ McCarthy needs to have 1 year to kind of explode. But then again, you have the best player in the game. In my opinion, I think Justin Jefferson is the best player, is the best wide receiver in football. So he's kind of a game breaker. So I think that allows for some variability, between 7 and 10, potentially getting 9 wins. But, you know, I think anytime you have an inexperienced quarterback, you can consider Jaden McCarthy to be almost a rookie. First really time under the bright lights that he's going to be facing any trouble. So I think it's going to be a 7-10 season for the Vikings. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the 11-6 for the Vikings. I think they have what they need except for a quarterback, which is probably your biggest need right now. We don't know what JJ McCarthy is going to look like this season. So I think last year he did look pretty decent in the preseason, but I just don't think that JJ McCarthy is going to be able to lead this team right away, like you said. I think give him a couple of years. If he was behind maybe Kirk for a little bit, then that would have been perfect for him. But as of right now, it's going to take them maybe 2 to 3 years to figure things out. So I'll put the Vikings down for an 11-6 season or 6-11 season.
I was going to say 11-6, crazy. Just to recap on the division itself, our division winner, or my division winner, is going to be the Packers. My division loser is going to be the Vikings. My division MVP is going to be Caleb Williams.
Yep.
I think he's going to have the best season of the four quarterbacks. And my division kind of least valuable player, the player that I think will drop the most, I think it's pretty clear it's going to be Jared Goff, coming off of 13-14 win season last year and then dropping down to 10 wins. It's a bit of a fall off, so I'll give him the LVP award. But who's your division winner, loser, MVP, and Ted?
Yeah, so I'm right there with you. Caleb Williams' breakout season incoming. He's gonna be able to succeed with these weapons. I think Jordan Love will be this year's loser for this division. I don't think
Fair,
Jordan
yep.
Love has what it takes. I really just don't like him as a quarterback. I think maybe give him a year or two more, and then he'll start to do better after that. But right now, I just don't see him leading this team anywhere special. I think the Packers could get snubbed from playoffs if the Bears decide to show up. So yeah, I think I got the Lions winning division, Vikings losing division, and then that 2 and 3 spot will be up to the Bears and Packers because I have them both sitting at a 10-7.
Yeah, that's fair. It's going to be really fun. That division is going to be a fun division. Um, but yeah, so our next division, I believe, is
NFC.
the Yes, correct. NFC East. So NFC East, we'll start with the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Keep it straight. They're my division winner. They're my NFC conference winner. Highest record amongst all the teams. I think I said this last week, the week before as well. The Eagles are the best team in football.
Yep.
From the top down, Howie Roseman, coaching, the entire coaching staff, the entire team just plays at a professional level that you don't see from any other organization. Saquon carries himself extremely well. Went to the White House the other day, and yeah, I mean they're just an exciting team who's just going to kill you in all facets of football. Jahad Campbell, great pickup. Cooper DeJean, seeing him on a lot of top 10 cornerback lists, which actually I'd like your thoughts on that. Cooper DeJean, top 10 cornerback. Thoughts?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Uh, I think he's good. I don't think he's up there yet. Maybe 9 or 10, maybe. But other than that, I don't think he's top 10. Just I don't like putting rookies in my top 10 just because they've only had 1 year. Unless they're really that guy, then I don't like putting them in the top 10. But I do have a hot take for this. I think the Denver Broncos take that dub against the Eagles week 5. I said before, I'll say it again, the Denver Broncos are winning their division. Bo Nix is about to go crazy on this team. So
But you got
right
the
now,
Broncos winning 13 games, so yeah.
looking at the Eagles schedule, I really have them losing 3 to 4 games max.
Hmm.
I like
Yep.
you said, they're taking the NFC, they're going number 1 seed. I think honestly, if they don't, that's crazy. Just because of how well you did in the Super Bowl last year, your expectations are very high. The bar is through the roof right now. Sirianni and this team, they need to show up because they have a dynasty in the making. They have two arguably top 10 wide receivers. They have the best running back in the league. They have a top 5 quarterback in the league. They have the best defense in the league, the best D line in the league, the best secondaries in the league. So you have everything you need. I better not see more than 3 to 4 losses this season.
Entirely agree. I have them sitting at 13-4, and I mean, like I said, top down, Eagles are just the best run organization in football. And when you go over a 17-week season, they're going to be the best team in the NFL. I think our winner was the Bills on the AFC, but I still would
Yeah,
consider the Eagles to be the better team between them and the
yeah, for
Bills.
sure. I think the Eagles easily number one team. Like I said, they have too many weapons in each like category.
100%.
They're
Yeah.
like even their O line and their D line. Like, how do you have a top 5, top 5 wide receiver room, quarterback, D line, O line, secondary,
Hmm.
linebackers? Like, all of it is just crazy. The GMs, the coaches, they all went insane, and they got Jihad Campbell in the draft. That's a crazy
Yep.
addition.
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, I got to shout out specifically, like I said before, Howie Roseman, the salary cap analyst on that side of things, the projection analyst on that side of the Eagles, because to be able to build out a franchise like this and really structure it year by year so that each year you have the opportunity to pick up a solid player in the draft while also not losing crazy assets. And their recruiting is really good too. I mean, Zach Bond, right, comes out of nowhere last season. They pick him up for a very low contract and he immediately makes an impact as a linebacker. And he created turnovers. I believe he created one in the Super Bowl. Like those are the types of moves the Eagles make to win championships. So a lot of credit goes out to the guys who are running these projections, are understanding, hey, what is it that we need this year to make ourselves a championship team? And they've opened it, like you said, it's a real potential for a dynasty to win for the next five years, especially if Jalen Hurts can be that guy. Now I have some personal doubts about Jalen Hurts. Um, because I think he's a top 5 quarterback. I don't think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league.
Mhm.
But then again, like I said, supporting cast is just so good that at the end of the day, I think they will win the NFC. They will be the number 1 seed.
Yeah. See, I don't like all the hate that Jalen Hurts is getting because you always see maybe Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and of course Patrick Mahomes is always going to be at the 1 spot. But you always see those players in front of Jalen Hurts, and I see people putting Jaden Daniels in front of him, which that's pretty disrespectful to Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Hurts. But the thing is, Jalen Hurts has a ring. None of those other guys I mentioned have a ring. So
True.
how are you gonna say, oh well, he has an MVP, he has a Super Bowl appearance, he has two MVPs. Okay, but you haven't won the biggest game, the game that's the only game these players care about.
Right.
They still haven't even made it.
Right.
Only Joe Burrow has made it, and he lost.
Right.
So that's why I'd say you can't be disrespecting Jalen Hurts like this. I think the disrespect has gone on for too long now. I think Jalen Hurts is a bona fide top five quarterback in the league.
Yeah, 100%. My only issue is the consistency with Jalen Hurts. Like, I know last season between, I think it was after week like 7, 8, he just went off, right? He finished out the season incredibly. He went through the playoffs and just went through every single team. But I want to see that every single season. Like, I don't want to see that Jalen Hurts had 80 pass yards today. I don't want to see that Jalen Hurts had 160 pass yards. I want him to throw for 250. I want Saquon to run for 100. And it's a lot to ask for. But if you see that consistent, I'm the guy, right? If Jalen Hurts comes out every week and he says, I'm the best quarterback in the league, I'm number one, I'm number one. He does it week over week over week. Then yeah, then that's when we start talking about Jalen Hurts in the top three and the top two. Um, and see where it goes from there. But
Yeah,
yeah, good season for the Eagles in the coming. But let's go
yeah,
to the Commanders. So Commanders on my end, I have them going 11-6. I think Jaden Daniels will have a fun season, kind of similar to Caleb Williams as well. I think their biggest game of the season will be Week 16 versus Philadelphia. I believe they played them in Week 18 as well. I do have them splitting the series, but I'm not too confident the Commanders can get one of two because the Eagles are truly driven at the end of the season. So um, Jaden Daniels will have a good season. Um, Terry McLaurin will have a good season. I don't think Deebo Samuel will have a good season because I think that Jaden has a lot of weapons that he uses behind the line of scrimmage, whether it's Noah Brown, whether it's Terry, and then now you're adding Deebo into the mix. It's like unless Deebo plays outside and really uses the full space of the field, it's going to be tough for him to have a super successful season. One player I do want to talk about in the Commanders is Mike Sainristil. I love Mike Sainristil. I think he's an absolute dog. I think he has more than enough potential to be a top 10 cornerback in this league if he makes some huge plays this year. We all saw the two picks he pulled off from Jared Goff in the championship game. Great plays, happened to be in the right place at the right time, but I think he's a really intriguing player to me. But what do you think of the Commanders?
yeah. I have them sitting at 11-6. I think, like I said, I think they have some tough games this season. So honestly, Week 9 against my Seahawks, they're losing. They're definitely losing that game. But no,
That's
the
fair.
Commanders they'll definitely get that wild card spot because they're not beating the Eagles uh, for the division. But Commanders taking the wild card spot, they could do good in playoffs depending on who they play. And 11-6, that's if Jaden Daniels can pull that off, we might have to start putting him in the top 10 for QBs
He's going to
currently.
be in the top 10 right now, Jaden
Well,
Daniels.
he's probably late top 10s, but we could put him in the top 5 maybe after that. He's
Yeah,
probably
it's not even right between right maybe eight or nine right now. Definitely not top five, just because when you
yeah.
win the league, needs
That's what
time to
like
really
I said
see what's up.
before. I don't like putting rookies in my top 10 just because I want to
Yeah,
see at least 2 years of production from them. Because
great. Only
like
1 year under their belts.
honestly, you could have a crazy rookie season and then just completely fall off the map after that. So that's why I want to see what he
100%.
does this season. But yeah, this team being led by Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels, it looks like they're set up for success right now because last year was supposed to be their rebuild year, and they made it to the
100%.
NFC Championship. So we just have to see what happens with them. All right, next up we got the Dallas Cowboys. Now looking at this Dallas Cowboys schedule, I can see one. Yeah, I'm looking at a 9-8 season for the Dallas Cowboys. I really don't think they're gonna do as good as people will say they are. George Pickens, great pickup, but it's not gonna help that much just because Dak hasn't really proved himself to do anything. Now they could maybe pull off 10-7, maybe 11-6, but that's kind of a reach. I think 9-8 is where they sit at. It depends on how the rest of the NFC does, but if they do end up with that 9-8 spot, they can maybe make playoffs.
Yeah, I have the Dallas Cowboys at 8-9 right now. Some of their biggest games of the season are going to be Week 18 against the Giants and Week 11 versus the Raiders. Obviously, Week 18 a lot less important considering you kind of know where they're at. But I think in the sense that them and Washington could kind of be competing for a wild card spot, just because I don't feel like they're too far off in terms of how their records are going to shake out. So say that something happens where they're 1 win away from the Commanders and Week 18 matters against the Giants. Giants have a good defense. Giants are a team that are going to probably play through the whole season. Dable and Schoen are kind of fighting for their contract, so they're going to run through the whole season. So that's an important game. Week 11 is them coming off the bye, and I think depending on how the first half of their season goes, it's going to be can they turn it around or can they keep this up? And that's going to be important that Week 11 game against the Raiders, playing against a tough guy in Janty, playing against an okay team with Gino. Not a great team, but I think it's someone that, I mean, the Raiders are going to get some wins, right? So I think they could be a potential surprise for for the Cowboys in Week 11. So that'll be a really interesting and polarizing matchup.
All right.
Um,
Next up, we got the Giants. The Giants have one of
Division
the.
losers, baby.
What was that?
Division losers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking at maybe 13 losses. I'm looking at a 3-4 win season for the Giants. This team just they need to figure out their quarterback situation because they have everything else they need. They have a good wide receiver, decent secondary. It's not too bad. They have a great D line, but it's just that QB room. What are we doing with Russell Wilson, uh, Jackson Dart, and Jameis Winston? Like, why do we have these three people? Like, maybe you want to put a vet in front of Jackson Dart, but then again, why Jackson Dart? You could have taken Milroy, you could have taken Shador, anyone that was better than Jackson Dart, but you went with someone who I thought was going maybe in a late fourth or fifth round pick just to be a backup for a couple of years and maybe starting a couple of games. But I really don't see them winning more than 3 to 4 games this season.
Yeah, that's fair. I have them at 6. I think Russ and Malik can pull off some magic, but not enough. But I think Jackson's Dart maybe starts. I think it depends, obviously, how the start of the season goes. If they start winning games, Russ is going to stay in there. Jackson will stay on the bench, play that JJ McCarthy second fiddle type role. But if they're losing games, Jackson Dart needs to be in the game by week 9, week 10. Like, we can't be sitting here wondering, hey, is Russ going to do it? Is he going to turn around our season from 3-10 season to 7-10 season? Like, who cares, right? Throw the rookie out there, let the rookie play. I didn't think he was a bad pick, and it's pretty clear that Brian Dable loves Jackson Dart, loves his charisma, loves his confidence, his leadership, his stand-up ability to play in the pocket, make throws, make reads. And I think he thinks that he can develop his talent. So like I said, this is Dable's year. He has to turn Jackson Dart almost into an all-pro quarterback. I wouldn't say all-pro, but he needs to turn Jackson Dart into a potential top 15 quarterback in the league to really say, hey, we can turn this around. And if not, I don't know where the Giants go from there. I mean, if Jackson Dart shows up and he's bad, like he's really, really bad, I don't think the Giants have a direction in which they're going. I think they've bet a lot on this kid Jackson Dart. So it's clear Dable believes in him, clear Schoen believes in him. Now we see how it goes. But yeah, division losers for me, division losers for you. Just to run through the division once again, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles, number 1 in the division at 13-4. Got the Giants at the bottom. I have them at 6-11. Adam has them at 3-14.
Mm-hmm.
So bottom of the pack there. My division MVP is going to be Saquon Barkley. I love Saquon. I love the way that he runs the rock. And I'd say my division disappointment is going to be Deebo Samuel. I really just don't think he has it anymore. Even though, I mean, he's going to be on an 11-6 team. But I see him as, potentially losing that wide receiver 2 spot, becoming a wide receiver 3, and then, say an injury happens or whatever. I think the Commanders have enough talent to supplant Jaden Daniels with Luke McCaffrey. They picked up a rookie as well, Jalen Lane. A lot of people in that wide receiver room. So Debo's my guy to fall off. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so I got Eagles winning division, obviously Giants losing. My MVP will be Jaden Daniels because I think he'll definitely. I do think he'll be able to do pretty much what he did last year and lead this team to a winning season and it may be a playoff run. Least valuable player, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Debo. I hate Debo.
I mean,
I
coming
don't.
from a Niners Seahawks fan, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I don't like Debo. I don't think he's that good. I think he's old now. I think his last good season was maybe in 2020, 2019, something like that. He's
Right.
just old. He's kind of fat, and I think they put him at like a running back, wide receiver type of position, and maybe he gets a couple of snaps. I don't think he gets over 50 yards in any game
Wow.
for this season.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think
Debo's
he has
season.
that. I don't think he has that juice anymore. I don't think he has what it takes.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. But yeah, let's jump into my favorite division, the least valuable division in football, the NFC South. Um, just to talk about the NFC South a little bit, kind of in the bottom of the pack the last couple of years, but I think they're on a bit of an upturn besides the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Bryce Young looked okay. Tampa looks more than capable. And Atlanta, I mean, we have to see what Michael Penix can do, but there's a lot of hype coming out of training camp. And I mean, he was so good at Washington that I wouldn't be surprised if he's very accurate as a quarterback in the NFL. And Drake London is the type of guy who needs an accurate quarterback to hit him on slant routes, to hit him on
Yeah.
outside routes. Um, but yeah, I mean, just to start with the Buccaneers. Now, I don't feel like this is a biased take, in my opinion. I truly believe this is the Buccaneers' one last year to make it to the NFC Championship game. Like this is their best opportunity, right? Because you have a solidified offense in Baker, you have a solidified running back room with, I guess you could say, Rashad White, Sean Tucker, whoever's at number two, Bucky Irving on top. Your wide receiver room is fleshed out plenty, but I felt like they took care of a lot of things in the draft that people like that went way under the radar. I thought Benjamin Morrison was a home run pick at 53. Like that's the type of guy that you want, especially with a bit of a shaky secondary. So I think this is the year that the Bucs have a chance to make it to the NFC Championship game. And then from there, I mean, you run into the Eagles. It's going to be a tough matchup. You run into anyone in the NFC Championship game. It comes down to a one game who's going to play better. And I have confidence that Baker can do it, but to say that the Buccaneers will go on a Super Bowl run is a bit far fetched. So I think this is their year to go to the NFC Championship game. So I have them at 11-6. Biggest game of the season, Week 11 at Buffalo, really shows how serious are the Bucs as a playoff contender. Are they going to get blown out by the Bills? Probably not. But if they do, then it's like, okay, we're a little bit worried about them as far as playoffs go. But what are your thoughts on the Bucs?
Yeah, I'm right around there with you. I think maybe 10-7, 11-6, something like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
they do lose a couple to their divisional rivals. And just looking at their schedule, I see the Rams, I see the Bills, I see the Eagles, I see the Lions, I see the Seahawks. So that's definitely very very tough for the Bucs, especially because this team has just been very mediocre for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Tom Brady, they've just been very like mediocre, and that's me saying that they're a terrible team. I'm saying that they have the blueprint. They need that final piece. Like the Eagles
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, they were that team. They're that mediocre. Like okay, kind of all right. Like they went to the Super Bowl last year. They didn't really do much this season. And then the piece that they found was Saquon Barkley.
Right.
And we could tell that Saquon made a huge difference at our offense.
Right.
And of course, they had some very big players on defense show up last season. But I think that the Bucs are in the same situation. They need to work on that defense a little bit more. They have the offense. They need to figure out if they're gonna keep Baker for the next couple of years or draft someone or find someone to replace him soon. The wide receiver room very good. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, two of my guys that I really like, and Bucky Irving. That's the goat. I love that guy. It's just right now. It's just the defense they need to work on, and honestly, once they do, they're gonna start looking like a 12-5, maybe something like that, maybe a 13-win season team. But that's just once they figure out what to do on that defensive side of the ball. So I'm right there with
100%.
you with 10-7 record.
Yeah, I think my biggest sleeper for the Bucs. I just want to dive in a little bit more just because they're my team, but my biggest sleeper for the Bucs is Zion McCollum because he is an athletic freak back there in the secondary, but needed to refine his skills, and I feel like that's what you work on in the offseason. So when a cornerback has the athletic ability to really dominate at the corner position, dominate one-on-one matchups, but he doesn't have the skill level quite yet. I feel like that's one of the easiest things for a corner to work on is the technicalities, the footwork. understanding where I need to be in order to leverage the wide receiver into not making a catch. And I think that's something that Zion McCollum can improve on and will improve on. So I'm excited to see his development this year. I think he's going to have a pretty exciting season, and he could be the reason why the Bucks win the division. So that's really exciting. I mean, we'll dive into the Saints next. But for me, this is not something I want to even spend too much time on. Tyler Shough is your starting quarterback. I have 2 wins. It's a 2-15 season for me. I have them beating the Tennessee Titans, and I have them winning one game versus Carolina. They play the Carolina Panthers twice, so I have them winning against the Carolina Panthers once. 2-15 for the Saints, number one pick next season. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-15. Let's forget about the Saints. They're probably going to
There's not
be.
much to talk about there. We know where they stand.
I think they get the first round pick, and that'll be good for them. Get a new guy. Maybe they get Arch Manning, something like that. But the thing is, if the Saints, why did they? I don't get why they drafted Tyler Shough. Like,
I don't understand at all, but
it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, we'll move on from them just because there's really not much to talk about. Next up, we got the Carolina Panthers. Looking at this schedule, it does look like they have a somewhat difficult schedule just because of the skill level on the team. I do think they take a couple wins over the Falcons, and maybe they get one off the Bucks. But other than that, I'd say maybe 8 and 9, maybe 7 and 10, around there, because they could go 1-1 for everyone in the division, and or take both against the Saints. So that's a couple wins for them. I say they could beat the Jets. I say they could beat the Cardinals and the Jags. So yeah, I'll put them at a 7-10 season.
yeah, I'm exactly there with you. Got 7-10. Biggest game for them, in my opinion, is Week 13 versus the Rams. I think the start of the season probably be a little bit shaky, but say you get that win versus the Rams, an okay team, kind of up the quality of your wins of your season. Maybe you turn it around right there and end up with 8 or 9 wins, and now you're talking about a potential playoff team in the next couple of years. So
Yep.
I think that Week 13 game is a big game. Got to play against a seasoned vet in Matthew Stafford, seasoned defense as well. Big game for the Panthers, big year for Bryce Young to show, hey, I am that guy, because he showed it in the second half of last season, like I might be that guy. Now he needs to come out and be assertive. And I think Tedero McMillan is a home run pick. That guy is going to be an
Yep.
absolute star. I know his hands are worrisome to some extent, but I mean, you see him run routes, and his fluidity at 6'4" is unmatched. You don't see a guy. The closest guy I've seen, obviously, Nico Collins, is he's an all-star in this league. So for Tedero McMillan to receive, he's going to receive a hell of a lot of targets, because Bryce Young, you know dang well that Bryce Young cannot see over that offensive line. He's going to throw it to the first hands he sees, and that's going to be the 6'4" guy standing right there in the middle of the field. McMillan is my biggest rookie, probably my best rookie non-quarterback of this season.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I think T Mac will definitely be a very good, like very big help to Bryce Young. He definitely needs that guy who he can just rely on, and his this guy's size. He's basically DK Metcalf with I feel like they're very very similar. I think he has maybe better route running, something like that. But I think this team, they're in the makings of like becoming a good team. They're getting back to that Cam Newton type of Panthers team. I think
just
given
Bryce Young and Cam
no, no, no,
Newton.
no, no, no. I'm comparing the team. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I just want to make sure to all of our listeners out there, Adam just compared Bryce Young, a 5'8" quarterback,
Yo,
to Cam
chill.
Newton, an athletic freak.
I'm
And I
talking
just
about
want to
I'm talking about that 2015 or
100%.
16,
Yeah. No,
whatever
I
it
see
was.
where you're coming from. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. That was a
I
good team.
say I say give him like 3 to 4 years. Bryce Young, once he's been in the league for a while, he gets some more weapons. They could really
Yeah.
be good. I really like Chuba Hubbard. I think he re-signs with the Panthers whenever his contract's up. As long as they don't trade him, I think their offense is starting to look really good.
Yep. So just, I mean, to move on to probably their biggest competition over the next couple of years, because I do think the Bucks will age out a bit and have to figure things out without Baker, but probably their biggest competition over the next couple of years, the Atlanta Falcons with Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and obviously Bijan Robinson, the star of that offense. But I don't have them winning the division this year. I have the Bucks winning at 11-6, and Atlanta right slotted behind them at 10-7. Week 1 and 15 versus Tampa Bay are their biggest games of the season. They need to, if they want to win the division, they need to win both of those games, and I think that's something they struggle with year over year. Um, Something I really want to talk about with the Falcons is I think this is the year of resurgence for Kyle Pitts. Now, every year is the year of resurgence for Kyle Pitts, but the reason I'm choosing this year as a home run year for Kyle Pitts is because one trend that we consistently see amongst all NFL young quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, is they love to dump the ball off to their tight end. Look at any rookie over the last 10 years, and you'll see how much volume the tight end receives in their rookie year versus maybe year 5 because they're more comfortable throwing to the outside. When you have a tight end who can run those in-breaking routes, who can run those slant routes, I think that's a guy who's really going to benefit from a guy like Michael Penix Jr., who's good at making those throws. Now, it's a lot about Kyle Pitts' execution, right? Can he run those routes can he effectively run those routes? I don't know. I mean, we've seen it a little bit here and there, but if he can do it on a consistent basis, I think Kyle Pitts could go over 1,000 yards along with Drake London, along with Bijan Robinson. It's all about the execution on Kyle Pitts' part. I think Michael Penix he has all the ability to feed a tight end. Forget the wide receivers. I mean, Bo Nix was feeding Luke Kroll last season. Like, if anyone can do it, Kyle Pitts can. So he's my biggest kind of surprise. But what do you think of the Falcons?
Yeah, Falcons. I have them sitting at a 9-8, kind of similar to you. I don't think they get more than 10 wins this season, just because their schedule is pretty competitive. They got the Rams, they got the Seahawks, they got the Patriots. So I think that they could really do good, but it just depends on Michael Penix, what he wants to do, how he'll play. I think I really liked him as a pickup for the Falcons. I didn't like the fact that they took him after they signed Kirk, but I think 9-8 season the Falcons could maybe be a wild card team depending on how anyone else does. But yeah, I think other than that, 9-8, that's where they sit at.
Sure. Do we want to move on to our final division of the
All right,
series?
let's start with the Arizona Cardinals. These are all the teams I hate. So there might be some bias behind these picks, but Cardinals losing this division, like guaranteed. I think Kyler Murray isn't that good. I think he's gonna get replaced within the next couple of years. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't really do too much compared to what he was projected to do. Me personally, I still had Malik Neighbors as a better pick over him last year. I just want to say that, but yeah, I think they lose to the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners both times. So I think that's 6 losses right off the bat. They'll probably lose to the Bucks, the Texans, the Bengals maybe. So I'm looking at maybe a 7-10, 6-11 season for the Cardinals.
That's fair. I'm a bit higher on them just because I like Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot. But I have them losing the division. I have them at 8-9. Biggest game of the year is going to be the Seattle Seahawks in Week 10, along with the LA Rams in Week 14. Those are huge games, man. Like you said, it could be 6 division losses. It could be 4. I don't think they can do much better than that, Matt. Maybe minimum of 3 divisional losses, but I don't think it's really as much about the Cardinals and more about the fact their division is really solid. Like you look at the Seahawks, solid team. You look at the Niners, solid team. You look at the Rams, solid team. I mean, it's going to be hard to emerge as the front runner in that division. And I think the Cardinals have a tough time. Somebody that I really like on the Cardinals is Max Melton in their secondary. I think he's a beast. He's got all the athletic tools. He's got the ball tracking. When he played at Rutgers, he played really well. So I think that he's going to be kind of a secret weapon for the Cardinals, able to bring the ball back to his quarterback, allowing them to get a few more wins than last year. But the team didn't change all that much. Kyler Murray is still Kyler Murray. I have them sitting at 8-9 and losing the division for that reason.
Yeah. And next up, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this is
take your time on it.
There's no bias behind this. No bias. I'm telling you right now, no bias. 12-5. 12-5. The Seattle Seahawks will go 12-5. They will take the division. Unless the Niners win like every single game because they have such an easy schedule, Seahawks are going 12-5. And this is me being realistic. They go 1-1 with the Niners. and they go 1-1 with the Rams. They could maybe lose to the Vikings. They maybe lose to the Commanders, Texans, and maybe the Steelers, but I don't see that happening. But yeah, I 12-5. That I feel like that's very realistic. I see people putting them at 7-10 season. That's extremely disrespectful. I don't care if Sam Darnold's starting on a new team. We have JSN, one of the greatest wide receivers in the league. We have Cooper Kupp to help him now, and they're both pretty much the same player. Gray Zabel on the offensive line, that's going to be a very, very solid help. We know how Sam Darnold plays with a bad O-line, so putting Gray Zabel in front of him, that is going to help protect him a lot. We have Kenneth Walker at running back. He might be a top 10 running back. I don't know, just because of his production. It hasn't been too well over the past couple of years he's been in the league. Our defense, Witherspoon, Love, and Reek Woolen, those are very, very solid guys. That's arguably a top 5 DB room. And then our D line, very, very solid. I'd say maybe top 10, maybe top 5. So it's just looking like everything. We have all the pieces we need. We just need to figure it out. Figure out how to win games with a new quarterback. Mike Macdonald went 10-7 as his first year as a coach. We would have won or went to the playoffs if it weren't. I think the Cardinals needed to lose a game or something like that, but we went with 10-7. We tied with the winners of our division last year, so we could easily and definitely take this division. So yeah, 12-5. That's me being not biased. I really have them at like 13-4 or something like that, But Seahawks taking the division, we could make a genuine playoff run this year.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are kind of trying to build the same way the Eagles have, on a more discounted style. Like, obviously, Kenneth Walker is not Saquon Barkley. Um, Obviously, Cooper Kupp is not on the level of Devontae Smith, even though I'd say Jason is up there at Devontae Smith's level.
He's
But
better.
yeah, I would agree. I think Jason is a bit of a he's a bit higher than Devontae Smith in my rankings. But yeah, I have the Seahawks going 10-7. I think 12-5 is a bit high as far as my thoughts. Because I think they have, like I said, I think the division is tough. I think it's hard to win like 13 or 14 games in this type of division just because everyone's a rival, everyone's going at each other, and every divisional game is like a toss up. Like you could have the Cardinals beat the Niners and then lose by 40 to the Rams. Like that's just how this division has been the last couple of years. So the large range of variability is kind of what scares me for the Seahawks, but I think that it's up to them or the Niners to win the division. I have the Niners at 11-6, which we'll touch on in a minute, but I think it's really just a toss up between the divisional games. How do the divisional games between the Niners and the Seahawks shake out? But I don't think you're wrong. Seahawks D line is top 10 in the league. I would put their DB room probably in the top 10, 15. I mean, obviously above average. But you forgot my main guy, Torrey Horton,
Oh,
my favorite player on the Seattle Seahawks roster. Absolute dog, CeeDee Lamb light, in my opinion. So that's going to be exciting. Seahawks are an exciting team. I just worry about Sam Darnold. Like, is it a 1 year thing or is it a career thing? I really hope it's a career thing. I like the way he plays.
who do you have?
No, I can see.
All right, next up, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they do have one of the easiest, if not the easiest schedule in the league, but I have them at 11-6. I think they're not the team they once were. They're not going back to the Super Bowl for at least a while, maybe 5-10 years, something like that. They're not going back anytime soon. I don't think Brock Purdy is that good. They definitely overpaid him. That's going to mess up their salary cap for the next couple of years, unless he decides to take a pay cut. So yeah, I definitely have Seahawks winning the division and the Niners going 11-6. They lost Debo. They're kind of relying on Juwan Jennings now because Brandon Ayuk is coming off injury. CMC is definitely not the same player he was. We saw that last year. He's struggling very much to keep up with all these injuries he's been having. And I really don't think Brock Purdy can play without this system. Like you said, he's a younger Jared Goff. And Jared Goff has his system. He has Amon-Ra, he has Gibbs, he has Jameson Williams, he has Demo. He has all these guys. He has great O-line. The Niners don't have that. The Niners, they have one good receiver now. They have one good running back. They have a good tight end. That's about it. They don't have I wouldn't say they're elite in any of these spots. I wouldn't say they're top five in any of these skill positions. Maybe tight end, maybe running back, but as of right now, CMC isn't a top five running back just because of last year's performance.
Yeah, I'd probably have CMC right at 5 in my running back rankings. To me, George Kittle's definitely a top 5 tight end. Still, which is it's always cool to have to see a top 10 tight end. I mean, top 5 tight end last there for so long. But yeah, I agree with you. I have them at 11 and 6. I think weeks 11 through 16 are really important for them because they've got a really nice and easy stretch. So they've got the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Browns, the Titans, the Colts. Between week 11 and week 16. That's 5 games that not only you can win, but you should win. So if the Niners can't pull off wins in all those games, I think the Seahawks take the division. But if the Niners can have that 5 game win streak, this is the Niners division to lose. So it should be really exciting. I think Malik Mustafa is probably my favorite kind of under the radar player on the Niners, absolute athletic freak. Really just he's a player, he's a dog, he's a gym rat. So he's someone who can make an impact and provide that real energy on the Niners defensive side of the football. And it's going to be exciting to see how they can turn it around because last year was just an absolute flop by the entire team. So it's going to be really exciting. Should be a fun season, but I think you're right about Brock Purdy that he's more of a system guy, and I'm not a huge fan of system quarterbacks.
All right, next up we have the LA Rams. I have the Rams going at 11 and 6. I do see some competitive teams on the schedule. They got the Seahawks. I think they go 1-1 with the Seahawks, 1-1 with the Niners. They can take both against the Cardinals. That'll be easy. But yeah, they do play the Lions. They play the Bucks. They play the Ravens, and they play the Eagles. So those are pretty tough games. They are spread out over the season, so it's not going to be like competition after competition. And they also play the Texans, which I do think they'll lose. But yeah, 11 and 6 for the Rams feels appropriate. I just think this team, they're a good team, but they're gonna have to start looking at replacements for Stafford. Their running back room, I don't know who's gonna start for them. Is gonna be
Hunter, baby.
is gonna be is gonna be Blake Corum or blanking on the other Kai. Yeah, Kai. If it's gonna be either one of them, their defense is all right. They have Jared Verse. He's very solid, but other than that, I'd say 11 and 6 for them. I think that's very fair.
Yeah, I love their defensive line. I think they're menacing. But I have them at 9 and 8 because I think this is the year for Matt Stafford to fall. His guy Cooper Kupp is gone. Obviously has Devontae Adams. Obviously has Puka Nacua. Puka, I consider him the top 3 receiver in the league. I said this last week, and I still have him at that high of a regard. But I kind of feel like the wheels are going to fall off for Stafford this year, and I think it's going to force the Rams to make a change. And what you were saying about the running back room, I truly believe Jarquez Hunter is the running back to come out of that room. And I think Kyren Williams is going to get traded, in my opinion, because if you think about it, Kyren Williams he he's like DeAndre Swift without the explosiveness in the passing game. So it's like he's averaging like 3-4 yards per carry on most of his carries, and then yeah, he'll have a 30-40 yard rush. Um, but he scores a lot of touchdowns. So that's what the Rams like a lot about him. But I just think touchdowns are not everything for a running back. James Cook is another example of this. Like, how much can you rely on this guy to score 15 times per year? And I don't feel like there's a lot of running backs in the NFL history who have done that at a consistent basis at Kyren Williams' size and speed. So I think Jarquez Hunter is the guy who comes out of that backfield, but it'll be really interesting to see. And the Rams have a really trivial year ahead of them because if Stafford plays well, then it's like, do we stick with Stafford again and just hope the wheels never fall off? That he's Tom Brady in terms of longevity. He's LeBron James of the NFL. Like, is that what we're looking for Stafford? So, but yeah, they have a bit of a tough schedule. I have them at 9 and 8. So let's just to wrap up this final division winner. I think we can go a split between San Francisco and Seattle. I don't think there's a clear winner there yet, and I think it's
Seattle.
all. I think it depends on their matchups. But yeah, I mean you have Seattle obviously, but winner is Seattle and San Francisco. Loser is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. Probably my biggest surprise, or actually we'll say MVP, is JSN. I'm a big JSN guy. We are the slot podcast. We love slot wide receivers over here.
Yep.
Biggest disappointment of the season, I'm going to stick with my gut. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. I just think for a guy who was the number one pick, we should have seen more throughout his career. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of wraps up the NFC side of things. So I just want to run through the playoff picture real quick because I quickly wrote this out. From both of our points of view, we've got Philadelphia 1.
Hmm.
At the number 2 spot, I've got Green Bay, and I believe you have Detroit, right?
Lions. Yeah.
Yeah. So Green Bay, Detroit. Number 3 spot, I have Tampa Bay. I think this is interchangeable with the 4 seed because I think they'll all have 11-6 records. But number 4 seed, we've got San Francisco or Seattle, whoever makes it out. Number 5 seed, we've got the Washington Commanders. 6 and 7 are going to be. It's going to be Detroit, Chicago, and Green Bay in 2, 6, and 7, the exact same as last year. Yeah, I mean, not enough change that I felt like another team could find their way in. I don't feel like I think the NFC South is again the same. One team is going to make it, and I think that the Seahawks division is again the same. Only one team makes it because there's so much good competition in the NFC.
Hmm.
So it's going to be a hard year for all the teams.
Yeah. I'm right. Real quick, I'm just writing down my power rankings, but I'm kind of including playoffs. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 will be the division winners. If you want to
Right.
do the same, run that real quick. We'll be back in a sec.
What do you mean 1, 2, 3, 4?
Like right now, I have the Eagles, and then so my division winners is the Eagles, Seahawks, Lions, and the Bucks, and then after that, 5, 6 based on the records.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let us know what your 1 through 7 is. But yeah, my 1 through 7 is Philly, Green Bay, Tampa, um, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington, Detroit, Chicago.
Yeah, I think I'm at the Philly, Seahawks, Lions, Bucks.
Whoa,
Maybe
Seahawks 2 seed.
yeah, yeah. Come on,
Continue, 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 continue.
12 and 5, bro. Come on, and
Continue.
then either the Niners or the Rams will be in there. I have the Commanders in there. I have maybe the Bears, maybe if the Bears can do better than the rest of the teams. But I do think 3 teams from the NFC West will be there: the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers. I do think they'll be there. I think this is the NFC West year. I don't think the Packers make playoffs with the 10-7 record. I don't think it happens. Bucks will be the only team from the NFC South, and then the Commanders and Eagles. So I would say my 5, 6, and 7 would be Commanders, maybe Packers, and then either the Rams or the 49ers.
Wow.
So yeah, so those are my
NFC
wild
West
card
kind of year
teams.
for you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. It's going to be a really good year for the NFC. Going to be a lot of good competition. That last week, 17, week 18, is really going to decide a lot of things. So, um, excited to see what comes. I'm hoping we get some cool NFL news over the next week or so. But next week we're going to be doing another exciting series. We've kind of done our first 2 series so far. So yeah, excited to see what we can bring you guys next week. Anything to add, Adam?
Yeah. Before I just wanted to just get a little couple questions out. I wanted to ask you, who is your top three cornerbacks in the league?
Top 3 cornerbacks. Hmm. You got to give me some time. Let me think on that. Who are your top 3 cornerbacks in the league?
All right, my top 3 cornerbacks in the league right now. At number 1, PS2 for sure. I
Yep.
love Pat Surtain. He's got to be the best cornerback in the league right now.
Yep.
Number 2, from the Houston Texans, I will put Derek Stingley. I think he's that guy. I think he's very solid, very like ball hawk. You know how he went crazy against Jared Goff. He owns Goff now after that game. And then at my number 3, no bias here, Devin Witherspoon. Bro, Spoon, top 3, bro. He might be number 1. This year will decide. He might be number 1, though.
My top 3, obviously, PS2, number 1, Patrick Surtain is the number 1 cornerback in the NFL. My number 2 cornerback is the same as yours, Derek Stingley Jr. I think he's a dog, and I think he just goes out there and plays. He's a ball hawk. He's a guy who can make things happen. And my number 3 is going to be Trent McDuffie of the Kansas City Chiefs. I still think he's that guy. I still think he makes plays. I believe he was tied for third as the number 3 PFF graded cornerback in the league. So He's got all the stats to back it up. He's got the wins to back it up. Now, one thing that I saw that was really interesting was Cooper DeJean was the highest rated PFF cornerback the entire year. Cooper
Really?
DeJean as a rookie, and I didn't even know, like, that's stuck in my mind now because that's really impressive. So I know we were talking about him as, a potential top five entering that 9-10 spot. But it'll be exciting to see if he can really enter this top three conversation. Like, imagine this year if he just balls out. That'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Um,
I got another question for you. What do you think of Bijan being a top 5 running back in the league? Because I see
I
a
think
lot of
Bijan is a
people.
top two running back in the league. I
What?
think it's Saquon Barkley, and I think Bijan Robinson is the number two running back in the NFL.
Really? Because I'd say my
100%.
top. I'd say my top 5 for running backs would be Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then maybe Bijan after that. I wouldn't put him in the top 3.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the top four is everyone's top four is the same, right? Everyone's top
Mhm.
four is Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson. And I think it's all about who you believe is the most talented of the three behind Saquon. I think Derrick Henry he had the most talent, but he's
Mhm.
also on the older side. And it's another one of those Matt Stafford things where it's like, when do the wheels fall off for Derrick Henry? And I think the time is coming. But also, it's not even that. I think Bijan just has the versatility. He has the running game. He has the passing game, and his body is just built in a way where he's going to dominate the league for years to come. So
Yeah.
I think even if you want to call it a toss up between Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, I have Bijan with a little bit of an edge. So yeah, Saquon, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Derrick Henry, and then I think it kind of thins out after that.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to call it. I think thanks for listening, guys. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, uh, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Did I get everything?
Yeah, I believe so. We're the Slot Podcast on all platforms. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode of the Slot Podcast. Thanks, guys.